Hello, everyone. Welcome to English for You. I'm Angeline.
And I'm Mike.
So, Mike, do you eat your fruits every day, your fruits and vegetables?
I eat a fruit or a vegetable. I try to eat fruit. I like fruit more than vegetables, but yeah, I try to eat some fruit every day.
Yeah, what
Absolutely.
are your favorite fruits?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm partial to apples, bananas. Ooh, I like a good grapefruit now and then.
Really?
Now and then. A kiwi's pretty good. My neighbors brought by some guava this morning, actually.
Did they grow them themselves?
I don't know. They just sort of bring them by sometimes when
That
they
is
have
awesome.
too many, I guess. So maybe I'll be having guava over the weekend. How about you? What's your favorite fruit when it's time for something healthy? What do you like?
Fruit. I like watermelon.
Okay.
You know what, actually, I have a big problem with fruits because they make my mouth itchy. My lips and my mouth. And I don't know what it is about the fruit, but the ones that have skin. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
All right.
true. So even though there are some fruits that I like, I try to avoid some of them too because they make my mouth itchy. So
Okay,
I'm allergic to them, I guess.
There you have it, listeners. As our first fun fact, it's a free fun fact for today. Fruit makes Angeline's mouth itchy. It's a fact. And now let's get into our article and find out some more less weird facts.
Reading.
Fun facts. It's a hot day and you're hungry for a snack. Nothing sounds more delicious than some cool, sweet fruit. In particular, berries sound good. Which of the following fruits is a berry? A. Strawberries. B. Watermelons. C. Both strawberries and watermelons. You've got it right if you guessed B. Though most people learn that strawberries are berries, this isn't actually correct. In fact, the same thing that proves a strawberry isn't a berry determines that a watermelon is. Seed placement. Berries have seeds inside their flesh. This is what makes blueberries, grapes, and even watermelons berries. You might be surprised to learn bananas are berries as well. After all, they have tiny black seeds within them. Strawberries, however, have seeds on the outside of their flesh. Thus, this sweet summer fruit is something else entirely. Strawberries are actually labeled as aggregate fruit. This term means that they develop from multiple ovaries of a single flower. Still, as far as flavors go, the berry label is more commonly used for strawberries than aggregate fruit is.
Okay, so our article begins by saying, it's a hot day and you're hungry for a snack. Okay, so to be hungry for something means to have a strong wish or a desire or a want for something. For example, some people are so hungry for money that they'd be willing to do anything for it.
Interesting. So, yeah, a hot day, a nice piece of fruit, sounds pretty good. And as the article says, nothing sounds more delicious than some cool, sweet fruit. Absolutely. Nothing sounds more delicious than, all right? So nothing more than. Basically, you're just kind of saying, this is the best thing. This is the best thing that I can think of. Nothing sounds better than a nap when you're feeling really tired in the afternoon. You could have a cup of coffee. You could sit down and have a massage. But no, the nap sounds like the best thing possible. So on a hot day, when you're a little hungry, a piece of fruit, nothing sounds better. Ice cream might be good, but ice cream often leaves you thirsty afterwards, right? With all the sugar and maybe a glass of cold water would be good, but you'd still be hungry. So nothing sounds more delicious or nothing sounds better than some cool, sweet fruit. Absolutely.
So what fruit is cool and sweet? Well, our article says, in particular, berries sound good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the phrase in particular is used to indicate someone or something that deserves special mention. For example, I like all of Jay Chou's songs. In particular, Superman Can't Fly.
Oh.
Do you know that song, Mike?
No, I don't know that song, but I'm sure it's a good one. We can also use another variation. We can say particularly. So
yes.
P-A-R-T-I-C-U-L-A-R-L-Y. In that case, with particularly, you don't need the in. So you could say, I like all of Jay Chou's songs, particularly Superman Can't Fly. So you're
That's
kind of pointing that one out as one that's a slight bit more special or slight bit different from all the other ones. But generally, all of them are okay. All right, so here's our question. Which of the following fruits is a berry, right? We're talking about fruits in the sort of smaller family of fruits, berries. So of these three that we're going to mention here, which one is a berry? Is it A, strawberries, B, watermelons, or C, both strawberries and watermelons? And be careful, just because it has the name berry doesn't mean it is exactly a berry. All right, that's just what we call it. So
I was going to guess strawberries.
be a little
and it
careful.
Looked really obvious.
Well, pineapples do not grow on pine trees, and they are not apples. They just have that name. Anyway, so strawberries, watermelons, or both. Which one is a berry?
Okay, are you guys ready to hear the answer?
I am.
Our article says, you've got it right.
Okay.
If you guessed
C.
B. Watermelons.
Interesting. I thought it might not be A because that seems too easy, too obvious, right? So I thought it might be both, but wait, strawberries are not berries and watermelons are berries?
But watermelons are so big.
That's right. I thought berries grew on bushes or trees and strawberries grow on... I'm confused, so let's keep reading. It says, though most people learn that strawberries are berries, this isn't actually correct. We've been learning wrong. My mom and everyone at the supermarket's been lying to me. The nice man at the fruit store, he's a liar. This is terrible. All right, we have this word actually. All right, it says this actually isn't correct. Strawberries aren't actually berries. When we use actually in this way, we're kind of saying something that is more precise or something that deserves more attention, all right? So you could say, for example, I didn't go to school yesterday. Actually, I was at the hospital, all right? So here's the reason I didn't go to school. And it's a little bit bigger, a little bit more important, maybe a little bit more interesting than just not going to school, all right? For example, we could say, I actually liked that movie. It was the best movie I saw all year. So maybe I thought I wouldn't, but I did. In fact, it was the best movie all year. So that's a little bit more precise, more accurate, and more interesting information. All right, so how do we know that strawberries aren't berries?
Well, our article says, in fact, the same thing that proves a strawberry isn't a berry determines that a watermelon is. And then it says seed placement.
Seed placement.
Right.
That's the important thing to look at. Okay.
So we'll explain that a little bit later, but let's look at the word determine. D-E-T-E-R-M-I-N-E. Determine. It's a verb and it means to decide something, especially because of facts. You could also say to establish. So for example, your blood type is determined by your parents. So depending on what blood type your parents are, you'll have a blood type that's a combination of both of them.
That's how it's decided. That's how it's figured out. Okay, and what determines the difference? We learned that seed placement. Seeds are, of course, those things that we get often on the inside of a fruit, and you can put a seed in the ground, and hopefully it will grow into a new plant, into a new tree or plant or flower. So those are the seeds. You know, apple seeds, people often don't eat those, but watermelon seeds, you might swallow those, right?
You could
Some people
actually, in
don't
Taiwan,
spit those out, but
they eat those watermelon seeds.
You can eat them too.
Yeah.
That's right. So some seeds you would eat, some seeds you wouldn't, but it's not usually the most important part of the fruit. But the placement of the seed is quite different. For example, with apples, the seeds are placed or found or located right on the inside, right near the middle of the apple. That's the placement. When we talk about placement, we just talk about where things are. All right. So, for example, if you're setting a table, placement of the spoons and bowls bowls and cups and glasses is important. The plate goes in the middle if you're setting a table Western style. The knife goes on the right. The fork goes on the left. The glass goes up above the plate. So that's where we place things. That's where we put things. That is their placement.
Right. So we learn more about seed placement. Our article says berries have seeds inside their flesh.
Okay.
So our vocabulary word. Oh, did you think of something?
Well, I just thought strawberries, the seeds are on the outside.
That's right. They're not
Interesting.
inside the flesh.
Like a watermelon, they're inside.
I see. Okay, so we've been using the word flesh. Let's see what that means. Flesh. When we talk about the flesh of a fruit, we're talking about the soft part that we can eat. Okay? Take a mango, for example. There's the skin, the outer part, that's usually kind of orange or green, kind of red sometimes. And we need to peel that skin off. And that's how we get to the flesh, the part that we eat. That's usually yellow, the yellow flesh in the mango. And the flesh surrounds that big seed in the mango. Let's use an example sentence for the word flesh. Agatha peeled off the skin of the peach and bit into its sweet, juicy flesh.
Interesting. So as the article says, this is what makes blueberries, grapes, and even watermelons berries. They're actually berries if you look at it from sort of a scientific point of view. They're not going to change the names of these things. They're not going to be grape berries, but they are actually berries because of where the seeds are. As a scientist, they would have to put them in the berry family.
So does that mean the other melons are also berries?
I don't know. Does that mean apples are berries too? Because they have seeds on the inside.
This is so confusing.
Are oranges berries? Well, I think we're going to be surprised with what fruit might actually be considered berries, right?
Yeah. So those aren't the only fruits that are berries. Our article says you might be surprised to learn bananas are berries as well.
Wow, a banana is a berry.
That is crazy. Okay, so here we see a useful phrase as well, which means in addition to something else. For example, I'd like a cup of coffee and a glass of water as well.
So is it surprising that bananas are berries? Well, it says it's true. And as the article continues, we learn, after all, they have tiny black seeds within them. Interesting. I know they've changed bananas a lot. Like the bananas we eat that are grown for supermarkets are quite different from wild bananas.
Really?
So I think, a lot of the seeds, they've made them so they're very small. You don't even notice them. But they are in there after all. How would they make more banana plants? And as we use this expression, after all, we're sort of explaining something that gives more information or sort of explains something. You could say, for example, so you might be surprised to learn that bananas are berries, yes. And then we learn, though, after all, but to prove it, to show you that they have tiny black seeds within them. All right, so there you go. There's the proof that might surprise you that bananas are berries, but think about it, they do have black seeds. After all, that's the proof that we need. And we talked about the black seeds being within the banana. When something is within, it's spelled W-I-T-H-I-N, it means it's inside something, all right? Something is around this other thing, For example, we could say, I packed all my clothes within my luggage, so I put the clothes inside the luggage.
Our article tells us why strawberries aren't berries, okay? It says strawberries, however, have seeds on the outside of their flesh. You mentioned this earlier, so I guess that's why they're not considered berries.
Right. Very, very interesting. Thus, the article tells us this sweet summer fruit is something else entirely. Entirely, E-N-T-I-R-E-L-Y. Entirely is sort of like completely or totally. It's altogether 100% something different from a berry. It's not a berry in even a small way, although it's called a strawberry. For example, I enjoyed that meal entirely, even the soup, which I thought I didn't like.
Okay, so our article says strawberries are actually labeled as aggregate fruit.
Aggregate fruit. Okay.
So, we'll talk more about an aggregate fruit in just a second. Let's take a look at our sixth vocabulary word, label. L-A-B-E-L, label. So, to label something means to put a word or name on something to describe or identify it. For example, Martha labeled all the boxes so she knew what was inside each of them. So strawberries are labeled as aggregate fruit.
So what does an aggregate fruit mean in the world of sort of fruit farming and fruit growing? What does it mean to us? Well, it says this term, aggregate fruit, means that these fruit develop from multiple ovaries of a single flower. So yeah, a little bit of science has been done here, maybe just by farmers really trying out things over hundreds of years. Multiple meaning more than one, all right? And an ovary, well, the ovary is part of a woman's body, a female animal's body that produces the seeds, the eggs, something like that. So basically, your banana is created with two moms or more than one mom.
That's really interesting. So our article says, still, as far as flavors go, the berry label is more commonly used for strawberries than aggregate fruit is.
Yeah, it doesn't really sound good. Eat our delicious aggregate fruit. It kind of sounds like they're asking you to eat a science experiment.
Yeah, or like a fruit made in a lab or something.
Something like that, absolutely. Yeah, so we had that little phrase there, as far as flavors go. When we use this expression, as far as something goes, we're just saying sort of when we think about this in its total form, when we think about this in its entirety. Okay, so as far as things go, I had a pretty good week. And when I look at everything together, combined, and sort of compare things, I had a pretty good week, all right? As far as prices go, this holiday was quite cheap when compared to other holidays, and when you look at what I got for the price that I paid, it's pretty good when you compare it to other things. So yeah, the berry label is more commonly used for strawberries. I don't think I've ever seen a sign selling aggregate fruit in the local supermarket, and that's probably good for the banana farmers. Okay, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll be back with our chat question.
For you, chat.
All right, we have a chat question here just to wrap up real quickly, and it says, what are your favorite summer fruits and why? Well, that's a good question, and yes, it's true, fruit do have seasons, right?
They do.
There are different times of the year when certain fruit are growing or being picked, and often you'll notice that the fruit, if they are in season, if it's the time of the year for that fruit, they're probably tastier, they're easier to find, they're cheaper. But of course, these days with airplanes, you can basically buy any fruit at any time of the year.
That's true, yeah.
But, like I think apples are sort of fall fruits, right? You often pick apples at the end of the summer. But what about for summer? What about fruit that you might find growing and being sold fresh in the summer?
So watermelons are
Watermelons,
summer
that's
fruits.
a popular one. Yeah.
Peaches.
That's
cherries.
a good one. Cherries, yeah.
I think mangoes, maybe?
I think mango, papaya, I would imagine, is a summer fruit as well. So, I think all of those sound pretty good. I think we've made a pretty good fruit salad there. If we get some of each of those in a bowl, I would be a very happy person. I'm also a big fan of the berries.
Yeah,
they're harder to find here. Those are easier to find in the summer in Canada and North America. But blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, some of my favorite things. What about you guys? What are your favorite fruits of the summer or another time of year? Have a chat about that, and we'll be back with more fun facts very, very soon. See you soon. See you then. Take care. Bye-bye.
Fun facts. It's a hot day, and you're hungry for a snack. Nothing sounds more delicious than some cool, sweet fruit. In particular, berries sound good. Which of the following fruits is a berry? A. Strawberries. B. Watermelons. C. Both strawberries and watermelons. You've got it right if you guessed B. Though most people learn that strawberries are berries, this isn't actually correct. In fact, the same thing that proves a strawberry isn't a berry determines that a watermelon is. Seed placement. Berries have seeds inside their flesh. This is what makes blueberries, grapes, and even watermelons berries. You might be surprised to learn bananas are berries as well. After all, they have tiny black seeds within them. Strawberries, however, have seeds on the outside of their flesh. Thus, this sweet summer fruit is something else entirely. Strawberries are actually labeled as aggregate fruit. This term means that they develop from multiple ovaries of a single flower. Still, as far as flavors go, the berry label is more commonly used for strawberries than aggregate fruit is.
Vocabulary Review.
Actually, the twins look very similar, but actually they speak and act quite differently. Determine. The students determined that this kind of plant grows best in low light conditions. Flesh. Karen could tell by the apple's soft brown flesh that it was rotten. Within. This package may seem small, but there's something very valuable within it. Entirely. Is this strange creature a type of cat, a kind of fox, or a different type of animal entirely? Label. Though tomatoes are often thought of as vegetables, they should be labeled as fruits.